If your nervous system is not regulated, then you might be having a hard time with your manifestations. Welcome back to Universal Laws with Christy Sturdivant. Today we are talking about a vibration. We are moving on from where we were last week when we were talking about quantum leaping. But today I want to focus on how we are going to raise our vibrations over time so that we can kind of have a consistent heat on our little popcorn pan so that when we are ready to have those really big vibrations, we can start quantum leaping into that next area of our life. So when I think about our frequency that goes out to the universe, I think of it as a three-prong or like a triangle type of situation. I always envision Tony Stark's core reactor because I'm a big nerd. I think of our frequency being made up of our mental, our physical, and then our emotional. Now, our emotional is the most powerful part of this frequency. And so, if I was going to give it a percentage, I would say that your emotional state is going to make up about, probably 40% of your frequency, and then 30% physical, 30% mental, which is you still need all three of them in order to raise your overall vibration so that you can send out a very strong and consistent frequency out into the universe so that you can co-create your best life with it. Today, we are going to focus on the physical aspect, which in a lot of ways is perhaps the easiest one for humans to kind of lock into and work on because it's very routine. It can be turned into habits, and we humans love our habits, don't we? So let's talk about some ways that we can physically raise our vibration so that we can start focusing on mental aspects and emotional aspects. Okay. So the first one that I want to talk about is getting in tune with your breath. Now, overall, with our physical part of our frequency, we need to really kind of tune into our nervous system. I'm sure you have heard it if you've been in this space at all about how we need to, fix our nervous system so that we are not constantly in this state of survival. This is what these are going to do and help you with. I am not an expert in the nervous system or somatic therapy or anything like that, but these are things that I have personally done that I have found help me tremendously. And I'm going to go ahead and give you what has helped me in my human design aspect because I want to map this out for you, right? I want to show you how I have done this without help, without professional help. I have researched these things on my own and I have gotten to a place. I do think that professional help, professional coaching, or coaching in any aspect, or having like a buddy, an accountability buddy, is always helpful in these things. But if you're just moving into this space where you're thinking that you want to raise your vibration, these are some really easy tips and things that you can do on your own. That is no big deal, right? But it's going to help calm your nervous system down. The first one is your breath. Not shocking, right? Our breath is one of the most powerful pieces of our body, and it's something that we do subconsciously and right so that we can survive. And we just do it all day, every day, and we get into these rhythms with our breath and we don't even realize it. And sometimes it kind of throws our whole body off because maybe we're breathing too fast, or maybe we're like taking short, quick breaths when we really need to be filling up our entire body with our breath. So, if you have never practiced any kind of breath work, or maybe box breathing, or just taking really, really deep breaths for a minute, try it and see how you feel. This is a really good way for your body to kind of reset, focus in on itself, and then reset that part of your frequency that's going out to the universe, right? It just calms you down, makes you feel better, takes you out of that like frantic anxiety state, which I know I have been in many of times. The next thing that you can do, super easy, go outside, go out into nature. And I feel like personally, when people are like, oh, you need to go out into nature, I'm like, ugh, I got to go outside and take a hike or do something outside. I'm not like a big outdoorsy fan. I love Mother Nature, no doubt, but I'm going to be honest. I'm not a big outdoorsy person. But going outside and like just taking 1 or 2 minutes to just stand in the sunshine is kind of amazing, and it can really do a lot for your body. It's obviously very good for your vitamin D, but it does something because it connects you with that uh, earth vibration, and it kind of just helps your body just settle down. If you put your head and face towards the sky like a sunflower, right? Sunflowers are very happy flowers. You go outside, you look at the sun, you take 10, 15 deep breaths, boom. Now you can go back and like tackle those emails or whatever you have to do. It just gives your body a chance to do a little quick reset. The next tip that I have, super easy, is movement. I'm not saying go out and join a gym and start running 3 miles a day, unless that's something that really excites you and turns you on. But just moving your body. It's so very, very common that we get stuck sitting down for hours on end. And, I know that I do this too. I get into this creative flow sitting here at my desk, editing, creating content, checking emails, doing all those basic things that before I know it, an hour has passed. And so I have had to start setting a timer and say, okay, every 1 hour, I'm going to get up and I'm going to walk downstairs and take a drink of water or change out my laundry. I do this very often. This is how I get my laundry done is I set the timer so that I can go downstairs, check my laundry, fold clothes for 10 minutes, come back upstairs, take a drink of water. But doing this kind of just breaks this up. It moves the energy that is stuck in your body, stuck in your hips, stuck in your glutes, and it just moves them around. Maybe it's getting up and taking like a 30-second dance break or listening to your favorite song and moving around. But it's very important. Our bodies are made up of 70% water. We absolutely need to be moving that water around so that we don't get swampy water, stagnant. No good. Okay. Shifts our vibration when we are sitting still too long. So we got to make sure that we get up and move, not just when, nature calls. The next easy thing that we can do is to hum, which I find in other people very annoying. I'm going to be honest. I don't like humming. I don't like whistling in general, but humming is a really good way to reset our body via our vocal cords or chanting. If you have something that you like to chant, go off and do that. There's something about humming and chanting that I feel like I've read that hearing your own voice or having your own vibrations moving from your throat through your body, it resets everything and kind of just puts you into this homeostasis type situation with your own vibration. It's very powerful. You only have to do it for like a minute. It's no big deal, right? I try not to do it around other people because in my family, they're like, please stop humming, which I get, right? Because I don't enjoy whistling myself. The last thing, which I thought was the most interesting thing, but completely makes sense that when I was researching this, is what is called entrainment. Now, entrainment is basically when things start syncing up with themselves around your environment. So it's when, you put two clocks with little pendulums next to each other in a room and they're like going all which ways. But if eventually the pendulums will start syncing up with themselves, right? And they will be on the same pattern. It's the same with, when you have a group of females, usually their cycles are starting to sync up. It's the natural way of how humans work. Now, I was chatting with AI. This is what AI is good for, in my opinion, is finding these like obscure research things that I would not come across myself. And it gave me this article that was done. Um, I can't remember who wrote the article, but there was a research done in Harvard and the University of California talking about happiness and how when someone is happy, it reaches out to 3 degrees outside of themselves, which is so fascinating. So if I'm happy, then my spouse's coworkers can feel my happiness, and then their coworkers can take it home to their spouse and they can feel that happiness. So our happiness spreads out 3 degrees past us, which is just absolutely wild, right? So when you are in a group of people and you are very excited and you have a super, super high vibration, your energy and your vibration is going to be moving outside of you, and those people are going to feel percentages of your happiness. Now, it was a very interesting article because it is based on like local proximity, right? So if you are super, super happy and your family is happy, then your neighbors are going to feel your happiness, but maybe the people around the block are not going to feel your happiness. And if you are in the center of attention, then you're going to be more happy, and those people on the outskirts might not totally feel your happiness, but if they do, then it was like a very fascinating article that I will link to below. What is interesting about this is this only works with joy and happiness, which is really humans' natural state of vibration, right? You don't see a lot of babies coming into the world totally bummed out and grumpy and snarky and sarcastic. They are little joys of pure love and vibration, and they exude this. And so when we are happy as humans, it spreads out, but sadness does not, which was a very fascinating part of this article. So happiness enjoys company, but misery and sadness apparently not so much, according to this article. So when you are sad, that sadness is contained within you, and it's really messing with your own vibration. But when you are happy, you are like initiating the law of cause and effect, and you're like spreading it out from you, which is, it's so cool to think about. So be around happy people. I think being in an environment where people are really excited and doing something that they enjoy is a lot more powerful than we ever imagined, and something that we should definitely start stepping into as a society, because it's like spreading. It's like mycelium or mushrooms or something, or like a tree network. It's spreading out from us in ways that we can't even imagine or even calculate or study. So keep that in mind. If you're feeling kind of bummed out, go to a place where people are super, super happy, and you will have your vibration raised to some degree, which maybe will help you raise it further. So those are 5 ways that you can raise your own vibration. When we are talking about human design, there's no one specific part of the human design chart. I mean, there's a lot of them combined, I'm sure. But there's nothing that's like, oh, if you do this or this gate, it's going to raise your vibration. It's not like that. But there is one specific aspect that when I have been circling the human design community, they always say like this variable in your human design chart is perfect for kind of helping your body reset and stay in alignment, with your vibration. When you are looking at human design, if you look at the arrows that are up by your head center and your ajna center, you will see 4 arrows right there. On your left-hand side, on your bottom, is going to be your environment arrow. And that is going to point in a direction. And by diving into that specific arrow, you are going to be able to tell, per human design, where your best environment is located. And according to human design, your ideal environment is going to help kind of reset your body. It's like the place according to human design, where your body feels the best. It's on your actual design side, so it's a subconscious thing. And when you are in this particular environment, you're just going to have this like natural, relaxed state. Now, when you go on to a lot of the websites, you're not going to be able to find all the time what your actual environment is. It's very kind of specific, like color coding and tones and everything. It's not always in all of the free human design charts that you can grab off the internet. But if you can find it, look for that and see what your ideal environment type is. If you want to explore more of that, I'm going to drop a link below to a chat with me called Map Your Energy with Christy. It's a 45-minute human design chat where I will, give you a quick rundown of what I see in your chart. And we can definitely talk about your environments because I think it's very important. There's a lot of information coming out around the environment variable right now about how important it is and how it's maybe possibly one of the first things that you should dive into, and yet not so totally accessible all the time. But anyway, neither here nor there. According to human design, there are 6 environment types. So you have your shores, your caves, your mountains, your valleys, your markets, and your kitchens. And I'm not going to go into all of them here, but maybe some other time. But I will tell you, as someone who is a shores, there's 2 types depending on the direction your arrows are facing. You have natural shores and you have artificial shores. My personal human design is artificial shores. And over the last couple of years, I have really kind of explored this and played around with this. And I have found my perfect environment, a place in my home that makes me like settle down. It makes my body settle down and I can sit there for hours and I can be there, and it lets my mind wander while my body is completely settled, and it really does just reset my entire nervous system. And that is, according to artificial shores, what you're looking for is not necessarily a natural shores like you would be on a beach, but it's a shore where you are on the edge of something. So for me, that is my outside deck. I am on this edge of my house. So behind me, I have like the goings on of my house, right? And then in front of me, I have nature, and I have this view of a mountain range. And it settles me down because it gives me this really interesting perspective where I can turn one way and be like, oh, look at this. This is so calming and relaxing. But when I turn this way, I can see everything that's going on too. And so it gives me this really nice peripheral view of like everything that's going on in my immediate surroundings. If I was, say, going to a coffee shop, then maybe that would be sitting in a corner by a window so that I can look and see who's walking by, and then I can also see what's going on. And so this is how the artificial shores works for me. I have like a place in our local library that is my favorite, where I can kind of sit off to the side and see what's going on there, and then I can see what's going on there, or I can see what's going on the floor below me, and it gives me this sense of safety and security and comfort, and it just resets my body completely. And knowing your environment can be a real game changer when you are consistently in this state of survival. And it's also really good if you have children to know what their environments are so that you can kind of help them and observe how they are reacting in their environment in case you need to calm them down, right? So my one of my kids has a valleys environment, and so he kind of likes to um we have a two-level house, and we have one floor that has high ceilings, and then there's like a captain's walk type area that goes up to the bedrooms. And so he likes to sit down there on the couch and look up. And so he can kind of hear everything that's going on in the house. And he's down in this valley where he can hear and kind of see everything that's going on, and he can just kind of take it in. And that's where he likes to read and study. He likes to sit on the couch looking up towards the ceiling, and he just likes to hear everything that's going on. My other one is a kitchen's environment. And so he has to be in the center of everything. He likes to be in that central hub, which is what the kitchen is, right? It's like that he wants to be where the action is all the time, and he just kind of wants to not necessarily always participate, but he wants to know what is happening in his surrounding. And so very often I have found him sitting in our kitchen or in our dining area, which is next to our kitchen, just like reading or doing his schoolwork, sometimes with his headphones on, sometimes not, but he just needs to know what is going on because people are always coming in and out of the kitchen. So it's very interesting to observe these environments and see my kids in these environments, and then see how they react and see how it calms their body down. So that is vibration at a physical level. You have to be able to reset your physical body in order to have this nice, clear part of your frequency going out into the universe. You can't co-create with the universe on mental alone or emotion alone. You have to have this physical aspect too. It's this nice combination of everything. So that is what we have this week, the physical. I would love to hear anybody's tips and tricks of what they do to kind of reset their nervous system. And let me know if you know your environment type. What is your environment type? Because I think it's a very fascinating thing to see how people have worked in their human design environment type into their life, because we need to have ideas. It's always good. If someone came to me and they said, "Oh, I'm an artificial shores and this is what's worked for me," I would absolutely try to experiment with that and include that in my life, because that's how we learn and grow, right? So that's all I have for you guys today. I'll catch you next time.